Welcome to Mel Bolt and Associates How to Make a Great Product podcast, where we explore best practices for taking great ideas from napkin sketches to mass production. In this series, we are going to show you how to take a product from ideation to production. Today, we are going to discuss the design phase of product development for the radiation-free Bluetooth headset we are developing. I'm Stacy Latsis, Vice President of Public Relations for Mel Bolt and Associates. I have with me today Jay Tynant, President of Mel Bolt and Associates, and Rob Fleck, member of the Board of Advisors. Jay, could you talk to us a little bit about how you came up with the concept designs for this product?
Well, as I have said before, any concept that you come up with is a series of rough sketches, thumbnail sketches, concept sketches, whatever you want to call them. And then from there, it just kind of evolves. And what I have done, I've changed my methodology from what I did before. I used to then begin a rendering and change that, but that was decades ago. And now we have the advantage of having 3D CAD systems. They're wonderful. And so I usually get a rough sketch concept and then delve right into the 3D model and modify it as I see it evolve in front of me in the 3D model. And so I established right away some of the things that I felt quite strongly about. One thing was assuming that these headsets are used for an extended period of time, that they should probably allow for some type of air circulation on the head. So I had concept sketches of each of these different ones. The first one is headset concept 3. As you can see, I have padding up on the top, again, trying to create a space above the head and creating an airspace for cooling. And then we also used sort of a gold trim as an accent. Again, it's kind of an aesthetic thing, but of course, it's an aesthetic thing is all part of the functional aspect of it. And so you can see the design of the ear pieces along with the ear padding or ear muffs, as some people call them. And then just a gold speaker on the inside, again, just emphasizing the special function, which would have a barrier to protect the user from the radiation. So in going on to the second concept, actually, let me see, the second concept, this was quite a bit different than the one before, but as you can see in the top part, I decided to use raised domes, soft domes, that again can create an airspace. And then the shape of the profile is something different. It's not symmetrical, it's more set back, so the headphones would be back more from the front. And then we created sort of a detail that would show the function more with the side profile. Again, this is a detailed thing that I would show details as far as line drawings and things to explain what I'm thinking. But this was, and we still have a bit of a gold accent, again, differentiating it from other concepts. And then I just wanted to mention one more thing on concept 4 is the graphics, where we're looking at different graphics too. The hinge point will be a place for the graphics there. And then going back to, or going to concept 5, as you can see, this is different again, but it's still the same direction, creating airspace to allow the user to use it for extended periods of time so that, they don't get hot and, it just would be more comfortable. And this is really open. The pad on the top is really essentially a one piece with a big opening on the top. Again, air circulation. Then the sides are open even more with rods. Again, the concept of open air design. And then the ear pads or ear muffs, basically no longer circular. I created a space just thinking of the human factors of just making it easier to grab it and then take it off of your head. It's just a small detail, but small details are sometimes what adds up to a bigger difference. So these were the initial concepts, and they're meant to be just that at this point. They're being evaluated. And certainly if somebody sees something on one of the other concepts, if you go back to concept 4, You know, if you like the way the top was handled with the soft rubber domes on the top, we could add that into, concept 5 or concept 1. So, it's all a matter of getting the ideas to the second stage. These are the initial stage of concepts. They're great illustrations, great way of showing what we're thinking, but, you got to take it from here and refine and revise and make the ultimate design that you can.
Jay, these are great concepts. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So you set out, you wanted to tell the product story, you wanted to put in some functional aspects that would make it more comfortable, easier to use, and you showed different versions on each. So in a design review, a client or an internal team, they would be presented something like you just did. And now we can, it's like a buffet. We can pick and choose, right? So let's say we really like the padding on concept 3, and we really like the earpieces on concept 4. We could ask you to do a second one to revise that. But in the beginning, here we are. This isn't a full-blown design yet. This is just experimentation. And these images can be used for marketing or for not marketing, but market research. So we might even take them as we are, but remember, those playing along at home. At this point, you can pick whatever you want.
Well, yeah, that's true, Rob. And another thing you could do with another advantage of the 3D models is if you wanted to make sure, if you ever wanted to get some type of focus group, you could have these video of these 3D models moving around just to ensure that people really understand what they're looking at, because sometimes they don't. I do, because I've been doing this my whole career, and you do, same thing. But sometimes people don't really understand what they're looking at. So,
yeah. Going back to what we heard from Dr. Goodwin in this application, they're wearing the headset. Our users are wearing the headset for a long time, so time's not on our side. And the distance right up against your head, distance is not on our side. All we can do is shielding. And so concept 5 really shows some heavy metals. I think there's some things we can do with that in the future to show separation. If this portion has the electronics and this portion is the shielding. So that's one way you told the story. At least I read it that way. Looking at concept 3, this is where I really see the introduction of other elements like that. If you look at the earpiece, that gold ring on the outside and the gold mesh on the inside, that looks to me like you have a Faraday screen and some sort of gold colored metal shield built in. So that, I think that's really telling the same story in a different way. We've provided some shielding. And then what I really like is headset 4. It has some of those elements, right? And then it has this kind of flared out kind of wing section. I don't know what you would call it, Jay, but that looks, concept 4 has some of those other elements. I really like that. It has the Faraday, it has the gold kind of internal shielding. And it also has that flared out section. And that to me in my head is like, oh, this is like a splash screen. We're going to stop the stuff with that immediately with this gold shielding. Anything that gets through, there's a Faraday cage, and even a third layer around that. Anything that bounces off and kind of goes obliquely hits this lighter material and gets either reflected or absorbed. So I think that you've told that protection story in 3 great ways. I really, really like it.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it came out well. But then, this is just the beginning. And as we stated before, so.
Yeah. When it comes
to a great tool to start.
When it comes to concept sketches, these things have some real tangible value, as I might have mentioned before. They can be used in market research. They can be used to provide a visual so that the internal team all understands where we're going. So this is the first step. And then the next step is what, Jay? Maybe we take some of these cushionings and test them with people to see which is more functional, which is more comfortable.
Well, that would certainly be one of the next stages, but the very next stage, I think, would be, okay, here are the three, are there any preferences? More focused of a direction. You can't go off in three different ways all the time. You'd like to, maybe make some combinations as you indicated. And then from that point, it varies depending on how the client is looking at this. Maybe we do a line drawing, a dimensional drawing that could be used for quotes, because the bottom line is they always want to be able to know how much it's going to cost, because,
Right.
I'm sure they usually have a certain market price in mind.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so the next step would be revision. If there are any preferences from the other concepts, or if they want to change something, we do maybe even another rendering, but certainly a line drawing from that. And again, the beauty of 3D is the line drawings are very easy to generate from the 3D models.
This is roughly the same amount of plastic, the same amount of metal shielding we would use on any one of them.
Yeah.
And so it also has about the same complexity of construction, these three different chambers we might make, or two different chambers. So as you just said, to say it from my point of view, I can send this to a factory, say, hey, give me a rough quote. And they say, okay, this will be in the, $10 range to manufacture. So it'd be, right. Or the chipset makes it more expensive. So this is about $25 more to manufacture. So you're looking at about a, $80, $79.99 headset or something like that. We have no idea at this moment. Those price points were made up. So, okay, there's value to the concept at that point too. Excellent. So you did something else. We didn't mix and match pieces, but you took concept 4, which has all the features. It has some airflow in there. It has the Faraday screen. It has the shielding in the middle. It has the splash screen. It has that kind of different color pod on the outside for the electronics. So it has a lot of everything there. And then you took it and you did some concepts to show either a step up or different, trim, different colorway to market the product to different applications. Do you want to talk about that?
You're talking about the Pro version?
Yeah.
I did renderings of that too. And basically, you can differentiate these as they have slightly different features or characteristics. Like, for example, the housing on the Pro version is more black. It doesn't have the light gray or the metallic on a lot of these. I only did the different versions on this one because we had initially, during our first meetings about this, we decided this was kind of the one we wanted to look at more. But you can do that through color of the parts. You don't have to change the tooling, just the color and maybe the graphics, so it's not a major change, but it represents a different model that somebody might use to buy up, upscale, more features, more capability, a better performance. I mean, there are all sorts of different things you can do in addition to the aesthetics.
Yeah, and that sells it to different applications, right? It can sell it to a gaming application. You can sell it to a work application. It can sell it to, someone who's into they want the music to be very rich and full and great driver quality. So just the different colors tells them that this one is a little bit better at this, that, or the other, right?
Yeah, as long as you pick the right colors and the right finishes.
Right, exactly. There's
Which
a
is
study,
something that we do.
There's a study you do to decide which one says gaming, which color says gaming more, which.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things, a lot of ways we can go forward, picking our favorites, but also we could test, number one, the shapes and comfort and things like that. And also we can do maybe some just really basic tests of how successful things are in for shielding. We can do secondary research and say, hey, this is a great way to do a Faraday screen or things like that. So I think from this point, you've created a lot of things that we can go experiment on to take to the next step, including getting quotes.
Yeah, I think comparison and revisions are the best way to do any product development. You delve into it, then you realize some other things that you didn't understand or know about until you got more into the development. And I think it's a great way to keep getting better and better until you get the best possible solution.
Excellent. Before we adjourn, let's talk about the difference between initial concepts and then the full-blown design. Speaking in generalities, here you gave us 3 concepts with a lot of different functional things from which to choose. Now, if we were to choose some directions on function, some directions on different shielding, and some directions on aesthetic, you would then do a next step, a final design, and that would explore it. And there might be, 10 concepts or so that come back, 5 concepts or so that come back that are only slightly different, or how would that go, Jay?
Well, it all depends. It all depends on what you're trying to do. And prototyping and modeling is even the next step. In addition to this great tool of 3D CAD work, now you have a model. I mean, that is something that has always taken place. Once you have something real that somebody can pick up and get an even better feel of what it is that you're proposing, it just evolves. Yeah, if they want subtle changes, we can do different prototypes, with these subtle changes. And then from there, makes it even easier to decide. There's always a comparison, at least in my experience. Okay.
All right, Stacy, I think we can wrap up.
Okay,
How do you
great.
want- how do you want to get out?
All right. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time on the How to Make a Great Product podcast.